Hello everyone, so I have no idea how the quality is going to turn out for this, so sorry in advance for that, but basically I just finished the most incredible book. Rather than just waiting to make a proper video, which this will be like before the actual review that I do, but I just wanted to kind of just share my initial thoughts really. The book I'm talking about is Gabriel and the Swallows by Esther Dalseno. I've probably most definitely said that wrong. I'm in equal parts satisfied and heartbroken in a way. Like, I didn't expect the book to end there, but it was just so beautiful from start to finish, and I can't even process what I've just read. It was so like poetic in the way that it was written, and I think this one is definitely gonna stay with me a while.
So what you just saw was me reacting to the book literally after I'd finished reading it. I had to edit out the crying because there's a good 5 minutes of me just sobbing. It's been about 2 weeks since I read this book, but I just needed to take some time to process and work out how I'm actually going to communicate my thoughts on this book in a coherent way. If you haven't guessed already by the title of this video, the book I'm talking about is Gabriel and the Swallows by Esther Dalseno? I'm sorry Esther if you're watching this and I've said that wrong. This book is published by Of Tomes Publishing, and the wonderful Ben sent me an advanced copy of this book. This book is going to be out physically and in ebook form from the 1st of March, and you do not want to miss out on this book. This book follows a boy called Gabriel who lives on a vineyard in Italy with his mum and his dad. His dad works really hard and his mum has some sort of mental issue that is referred to quite often in the books, but it's never said explicitly what that is. One day when Gabriel is coming home, he comes across a bloodied, injured creature and decides to take it back with him so that hopefully he can fix it. When he actually gets home, he discovers that what he's rescued isn't just some animal, it's actually a girl with swallow's wings. Alfio Gallo, an enemy from a rival farm, comes along to the house because he shot down this raven and he believes it fell on their land, so he wants to know if they've seen it. Clearly the raven he's referring to is actually this girl, so Gabriel and his family basically quickly get rid of him. That's all that I can say really in terms of the actual plot without ruining it. The beauty is in the discovery with this book. It really, really is. I really enjoyed this book. At first I thought that this girl who has these wings would be such a monumental part of this book, like the whole story would be centered around her. But that actually wasn't the case. It was more about Gabriel and Gabriel's perspective of him growing up from being this little boy who found this girl to coming back from university. It's basically just about his life, but he happens to have this extraordinary aspect to it. And I think that really worked a lot better than if it had been what I initially thought that it would have been. The pacing of the book is very slow because of the fact that it's following him through his life, but it just worked so well rather than if it had just been full-on action and everything happening the whole way through. The setting was just gorgeous. I've only been to Italy once and that was in the mountains because I went snowboarding. I've never actually been to any other part of Italy, I don't think, where it's near Rome I believe in this book, and there's all the vineyards, and the way that Esther describes it in this book, it feels like you're there. Like you're just walking these streets and you can feel all the heat on you and it's just really warm and nice. It just felt like such a perfect, tranquil and quiet location for this story to happen. Gabriel makes friends with this boy called Orlando Khan. He was just such a lovely character and such a nice friend for Gabriel to have, given that up until he meets Orlando he hasn't really had anything like that in his life. He's been quite alone. When he starts talking to Orlando about his mum, Orlando's like, well, all mums are a bit weird, to be honest. It's not that different. Like, something that Gabriel's been bullied for quite a lot and is such, like, to him, a shameful part of his life, having this mum who's this particular way. To have this boy who just turns around and goes, so? Was just such a nice moment. Gabriel has really odd dreams as well. His dreams tend to mimic life in a way, but how he would like his actual life to be, and because everything that happens is so similar to what's actually happening in real life, that he kind of gets confused. Everything kind of blurs into what's real and what's not, and he often gets quite confused, especially in cases when this girl with the swallow's wings, who's called Volatile, I believe that's her name, Volatile. There are aspects of the story when she's not there, but he's dreaming that she's there, and he's waking up really confused that she's not around. The relationship of Volatile and Gabriel was a weird one, but kind of nice in a way. Like, it wasn't entirely clear where their friendship was going to go. I could see it going more down a certain path, and I really hoped it wasn't going to go that way. I don't want to make this review a spoiler review because that's not fun when that happens, so I'm sorry for talking really cryptically in some ways about this. The writing was absolutely gorgeous. I've never read any of Esther Dalseno's work before. I actually hadn't heard of her until about a month or two ago when Ben, who runs Of Terms Publishing, talked about her book called Drown, which is a retelling of The Little Mermaid. And then not long after, I got an email from him telling me that Of Terms had signed Esther Dalseno for this book that I'm talking about, and that it would be coming out, and then he sent me a copy of it. So before that, I hadn't really heard of her before, but I feel like there's been some chunk missing from my life that I didn't know was missing in a way. I just felt complete reading this book. Like I've said many a time when talking about this book, since I finished it, it has been a long time since I've read a book and felt that satisfied with the ending. Not everything is entirely wrapped up in the way that normally I would like it to be in an ending, but it works for this book. It works so well for this book. Oh my god, I'm crying again just thinking about it. Basically, this is one of those books that really sticks with you. Well, it has me personally. I just keep thinking about it all the time, and apart from Truth Witch by Susan Dennard, it's been years since I've had a book that's left me feeling this way. This book is just outstanding and you don't want to miss it. That's the only thing that I can say. You do not want to miss this book because it's just so beautiful in every way. That was my thoughts on Gabriel and the Swallows by Esther Dalseno, and now I'm gonna go and lay on the floor and cry again thinking about this book, and I should hopefully be back with another book review soon. Bye!